Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Gilbert, and you are now entering the Talk It Out podcast with Gilbert and Miller. We're here to dive in to hot topics, pressing issues, and we're going through the twists and turns of modern life, politics, and the significant topics affecting Black church Christians and the African American community. And joining us is my co-host, the insightful and always provoking Miller. Hey, Miller.
Well, hello. Well, thank you. I think you gave me more praise than I deserved at that point. In case you haven't guessed, I'll be the lighter side of us talking. Gilbert will be the serious side that's really delving off in everything. And I am the lighter heart side that will be sharing just inspirational things that are going on in our community. So, guess what? You need to buckle up and get ready. Are you ready to talk it out, Gilbert? Let's
I'm
go.
ready. I'm ready. We need to set some I guess some parameters. We're here because a lot of times folk don't understand that faith is involved in every part of our life. Faith is
Mm-hmm.
involved in our social being. Faith is involved in our politics.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, a lot of times, they don't want faith in politics to intersect. And I can understand because just think if you had prayer in the schools,
Mm-hmm.
but you have the MAGA folks praying for our children, it would
Mm-hmm.
be a different prayer that you would have if one of us prays. So I understand how people are a little slow to have faith in politics to intertwine. But you have to understand that the role of the Black church has been a significant role as it relates to civil rights and any
Mm-hmm.
major movement in our country. Politics is engaging, and politicians. The first thing they want to do when they're elected, what do? They find the Black preacher, and they come to the Black church. And so we're here
Yes.
to dive in, to have those tough conversations, and to just have thoughtful, thought provoking topics that will make you be
Mm-hmm.
energized and to be active. You have anything you want to add to that, Miller?
I agree with you. I think so many times, as you were stating, when someone decides that, oh, I'm going to run for office, or oh my goodness, I want the Black church on my side. Let me find a big gathering that incorporates the Black church or the African American community. And they say, yeah, let me get in touch with them. And they come and they give us this big talk how they are so just, oh yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to be involved in the community. We want you to be active with us. We're partnering. And then
That's right.
once they are
Never see it
elected,
again.
we never see them again. When you come to a meeting, they act like they've never seen you before. It's hilarious to watch.
Right. And hard to get a meeting and you call the office. They tell you got to jump through hurdles in order to get
Mm-hmm.
a meeting. So we're here to discuss those topics. Now, can we just go ahead and dive in, Miller?
Yes, you can dive right in, Gilbert.
All right. So I have a few topics that I want to bring to our conversation. The first topic is everybody's topic today, and that's Project 2025. A
Yes.
lot of folks are talking about it, and you need to know that there is nothing good happening coming from that will
Mm-hmm.
benefit you in the work of Project 2025. It is not for us. It's not by us. It has been created by the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, and they're hiding
Mm-hmm.
behind um, the cross. And I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same cross that I serve, that
Mm-hmm.
I see Jesus hanging on, um, but it's a cross of power and a cross of money and across of control, across of racism. Um,
Yes.
it is created basically for three reasons. Number one, the first and major reason that
Mm-hmm.
it is created, and it's a term that I had never heard of until I dove in to what Project 2025 is, and that's something
Mm-hmm.
called unitary executive theory. Remember
Wow.
that word, unitary
Mm-hmm.
executive theory. Now we know uni means one. So it is
Mm-hmm.
saying basically that the president of the United States has
Wow.
complete, unchecked, uncheckable authority over the
Wow.
entire executive branch. The
Wow.
president, if this is passed, the president will have total authority as if
Mm-hmm.
they would become a king, as if
Mm-hmm.
they would become a ruler of the United States. You need to understand that there's nothing good in Project 2025. What does that mean? That means that the president could hire and fire folks in all of the departments
Mm-hmm.
under government. They plan to have folks that the president picks and choose to work in office. For example, Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Education,
Whoa.
and all other agencies. He was served to reshape the structure of those agencies. Think about how that will affect your health care. Think about
Mm-hmm.
how that will affect our schools. Think about how that will affect policing in the Justice Department. Now I'll move on quickly. It's our political issue, which I just stated, but it's also going to affect religion.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, white uh, um, conservative evangelics who hold our country more in esteem than they do the work of Christ. They want a Christian nationalism platform. And we
Yeah.
saw what that was a few years ago when we had the uprising at the Capitol. Not only would it affect our religious freedoms, but also social. So you can forget about the catchword is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All of those programs in the government, affirmative action programs, will
Bye
be
bye.
removed.
Yes.
So we just want to make sure that if not any other reason, then we
Mm-hmm.
vote the right person in, which is Vice President Harris.
Mm-hmm.
That we know that if Donald Trump is elected, that this initiative, Project
Mm-hmm.
2025, will be moved forward, and that gives us reason to get out here and call for our folks in Virginia, call our folks
Mm-hmm.
in North Carolina, call our folks in Alabama, Mississippi,
Yeah.
and make sure they are voting. Come on, you can add something to that, Miller.
Yes, I agree with you. I was listening to you, and the thing that was kind of thought provoking for me is the fact that you said basically that they are hiding behind the cross,
That's
something
right.
that's very important to the Black church. And that's, almost insultive. It is insultive to me as an African American and as a believer, a follower of Christ, that they are kind of just diluting and putting these things, in here to make it seem like, but oh, it's for your good. I thought to myself as you were talking and sharing, so do they have the impression that we are not intelligent? I mean, there's other conversations we can have about that because
Right.
at this point, I'm listening to you and what you said, and it made me feel like, do they think I'm not intelligent or I can't understand when I read? Because a lot of our population, I mean, it's our children, a lot of them, just about all of them have graduated from college. They have college degrees. I mean, my daughter has, her bachelor's degree, her master's degree. She's in medical school, and I have another son with a degree, another daughter with a degree. So for them to assume that we are not educated, that's mind blowing, because that's what this narrative is saying. It's saying that they believe that in all of these areas, I'm just looking at what you were saying, that they don't feel like we will figure it out.
Well, I don't even think that they even care about anyone else but receiving or taking power. They believe that number one, the Black church and the work that we do in social justice is not of God. Just this past year, we heard evangelicals say that social justice is not in the Bible, and so they believe that what we do as Christians, what we have done for our country, is not God driven. And so it's important that we understand that that they believe that all they're supposed to do is control and just read John 3:16 and have a vanilla doctrine that doesn't impact social the society and the life that we live, and that God is really going to take them over the hill and win this election. They believe that the insurrection was God speaking. And so we as Black Christians, we as the Black community, we have to stand. If you haven't stood before, now is the time to stand. Now in this topic, with just understanding that saying that we have to understand that this is a moment in history. A lot of us miss the Million Man March. A lot of us miss the Washington, Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream March. A lot of us miss voting during Obama going into the office as the first Black president. This is another moment. First of all, it will be the first Black woman president. But secondly, it is a moment to stop racism. And so we need to make sure that we call Lottie Dottie and everybody go out to the polls. Can I go to my next topic?
Yes, you can.
The assassination attempt of our former president, Donald Trump. It was kind of I hadn't said anything about it, but when I saw it, I was kind of like leery. First of all, I have family members that have worked in the office where the president has to have a staff to go out before they go to any speaking engagements. And so they've told me how they have to know every step that the president would take. They have to know every route that the president would take. They also have to go through with a fine-tooth comb of any hot spots or bad areas that could form a risk for the president. And so they do that not the day before, but months before, to find out the intel of what they need to protect the president. So when I saw the video of someone telling the police officer, hey, this man is climbing the roof, and the police officers didn't, or the security did not go into a heightened sensitivity mode, then when they said they saw him, it was reported that they saw him on the roof, they climbed up, saw him on the roof, and no one took a shot. No one got the president. Even if you didn't take a shot and kill the assassin, you would have grabbed the former president and hurried him out of there into the truck and got away. None of that happened.
I believe exactly, and I feel the same way that you do. It's just something about the particulars of what happened when he got there. Because as you stated, the away team goes first, and they kind of set up everything. My son is a special police officer, and so many things they have to do just for the things that they do where he's at that I know with Homeland Security, with his, people that he has right up on him, the former president. It's just not possible. That was mind blowing to me to think about them seeing him, seeing the shooter on the rooftop and no sharpshooters. None of that was in the contingency plan. That just can't be. In today's time, it just doesn't happen, because even when the chatter starts to happen, if someone's just talking about it, if they think that is going on, major things happen. All of a sudden, the rally's canceled and this and that happened. Right. So yeah, that was a little bit strange.
Now, Miller, think about this. You saw it over and over. My family member was on the advanced team years ago. But the first thing that we heard him say, because the mic was still hot, was, "Hold up, let me get my shoes on." Now, come on. If somebody's shooting at me, unless I'm high on something or I'm not in my right mind,
all right,
I am not going to say, "Wait a minute, let me get my shoes on."
Exactly.
Is when the shots rang out, from what I understand, the president, in this case, the former president, is supposed to be picked up off his feet if he's not coming, which in this case, he was looking for his shoes. They're supposed to grab him and say, "Mr. President, we got to go," and pick him up in any means necessary and run him to safety. This was a debacle. This had to be an inside job or some type of show, and I don't know whether it was either, which one it was, but it was not a protocol for Secret Service in protecting the president.
No, I agree with you. I think it's something that, and so if they are saying, yes, this is exactly what happened, then some alarm should have gone off. There should have been some action plans that went into place. Let's sit down and let's see, after action review protocol to find out what happened. Why did you not pick him up? If you were right there assigned, you're number one assigned to him. Why did you not carry him off the stage? Why did they not, shoot him on the roof before he even got a chance to do it? Why didn't they try to apprehend him or grab him or tackle him down to the ground or, something? It just doesn't make logical sense. And so if it did happen that way, oh my goodness.
That goes back to what you just said. Do they think we don't have common sense?
Common sense. Yeah, I agree with you. That's like really.
My third topic
I said, wow.
Is Joe
Biden.
You're
not going to talk about the patch on the ear? Wait a minute. You ain't going to say anything about the ear and then.
Hey, so the next week at the Democratic convention, it was like a ploy. It was like, hey, I'm now a hurt puppy. Come and vote for me. He put the patch on his ear. Now,
it was huge.
Some would argue that he didn't get shot by a bullet. He got shot by the glass that was on the teleprompter. Yeah. Now,
so
listen,
he got cut.
We never saw a picture of the bullet wound. All we saw was a little bit of blood trickling down. Now, that could have been from, and I don't know. But there is a teleprompter and there's glass around the speaking podium, and so it's just the Bible says watch as well as pray. The Bible says that we ought to have a spirit of discernment, and so it just seems a little a little off.
It does seem a little off with what was stated, and most of life that people don't understand. And this is even with social media. Most of life is about perception. So if I can get you, I'm a marketing person as well. So if I can get you to believe that this happened, if I plan enough things to say, if I put out enough, banners, and I have ads, and I have people reading things, and folks saying our poor, former president, and they tried to kill him, then that can be perceived by some that may not understand how social media or marketing campaigns work. They'll say, wow, this happened to him. Oh my goodness, Lord have mercy on our president, our former president.
Yes. And this leads me to the next topic. Was the next day or the day after Joe Biden stepped down. Now, I wonder if he would have stayed in the race if Trump had gotten killed, or if he was hurt and weakened by the shot. But he immediately had a meeting with his family and leaders, and then decided to come out and step down, and then we get to our Vice President Harris. Now, what I am suggesting is that we now need to try to figure out what President Biden's legacy is or will be.
What it will be.
It is no secret that he has moved the country in a good place in certain areas while he has been president. But there is also this past that he has of how he looked at and voted against and hurt the Black community. And so it is admirable for him to have decided that he didn't have enough gas to drive this truck to the finish line. And it's admirable that he decided to move out of the way and allow, and what I would say, the next generation to come in leadership. And I would say the church needs to take a look at that and allow the next generation and bring them along with us and allow the next generation to come into leadership. We have, when I was a little boy in church in the 80s, I see now in some churches, in some leadership positions, the same person that was in that position in our church in the 80s is the same person in 2024. The church clerk is the same. The deacon and chairman is the same, and the I understand, but we're doing a disservice to young adults. We're doing a disservice to children when we don't make room and plan for the next generation. So I think, and I don't know if Joe Biden did it because he felt like he had to do it, or he did it because that was the right thing to do. But I'm glad he decided to step down, and now we have to define his legacy. But what do you say attaching what he did to our Black community and our Black church?
First of all, as a African American woman, and me being a pastor as well, but me being an African American woman, I'm thankful that he, selected Kamala to be his vice president. Let's just start right there. And then also, we're the Black church, and we're the church, and so God is love. And so we all have things in our past, in our lives, that we have to be forgiven for, that we have to move on from. And I think it really shows and speaks to his character that even though before he had these things about him and he voted that way, but guess what? He made a change. Somewhere along the way, he made a change and he decided, hey, that's not the right way. It should be this way. I think he's going to just have a great legacy that shows that he was a very caring and compassionate president that really cared for the people. That's what I always receive from him, that he's genuine and that he cares about what happens.
Let me stop you right here because there is a young person that may need to hear what you're saying. There are some hip hop generation folks or some Black militant folks that may need to hear what you're saying. Please dive in. We talk about we're diving in. Dive in to why we can forgive, why you say he's made a change.
Yeah, he's made a change. Well, you can dive in and say that because just his political stance and how he really put women on the map throughout his administration in a way that every now and again with the other presidents, they put one here and there, but he was trying to put them everywhere. And that was one of the things that I was very, very impressed with. And then I've had the opportunity to work with his wife on Capitol Hill when I used to be the information specialist for the National Fire Protection Association, and I was there in their government affairs office. And I tell you, he is very gentle and loving with his wife.
She dropping names.
I'm dropping names. Hey, that's to tie it together to make it seem like the stuff I'm saying it really goes together. Okay, that's how you had to do, just string it along. And so, Dr. Jill, she is she's a good person, and he's very good to her. I think you can just basically judge how a person, how they are in response to how they respond to their family. If you treat your family bad, okay, let's just start right there. If you're treating them bad, then hey, everybody else it's open season. And so he's always, think about it, when he went in to office and they were walking, up, down Pennsylvania Avenue, and he had grandchildren and all of that. That was very touching. That was very real life. It was a very engaging family moment that said, hey, grandpa, dad, my uncle, he just included everyone that he could in his family. And I have never received from him when I would encounter him on Capitol Hill that he was ever just a malicious kind of person. He was just always very kind, very concerned. And I think him serving with Barack and really getting to know our community even better, because sometimes that's all it takes. If you're born in one community and I'm born in another community, we have to somehow, if we want to work together, I've got to find out more about you and you got to find out more about me in order for us to make it work. And I just think as he worked with him and he got to see, hey, this is bad. People are being oppressed over here. Little children, they're not doing anything in these communities to deserve this, and it's happening. What kind of laws can I get passed that will help to make life better? I would encourage our youth, that we're talking about the millennials, we're talking about the Gen Z, we're talking about those people that you really need to get involved and realize that we need your vote, because your vote is the vote that's going to make the difference. Because right now we have the older people that saying, hey, we're going to get out and march. We're going to put her in the office. I'm for her. I'm with, but we need for the youth, for Gen Z to say Gen Z is with her. We're voting for her. For the millennials to step up and say, hey, we're with Harris. We're getting her in the office to be president. We need some of those like Jay-Z and them that they did when we were getting Barack in there. We need for them all to step up and say, hey, we're going to give this concert, rock it out, jam it out, dance it out, the different things that they do. We need for them to be involved on every platform that's available. That's how she's going to win.
Yeah.
We have to get that young vote.
We had a Rock the Vote campaign for President Obama, and I even had we went and rented a truck, a pickup truck, a flatbed truck, and we put a band on the truck, and we rode around, trying to get folks to vote. We know that music brings folk together, and so yes, we have to do all we can. And again, I said, if not for anything, we have to make sure that President Trump doesn't get back in office.
Oh my goodness! I want you to explain to me. I got to stop you right here. You said Trump, so I got to ask you this question. I've been just a little confused this whole time because I thought we had a judicial system where if you break the law,
yes,
you're held accountable for that. I have been mystified. I'm mystified by that.
And this goes back to Project 2025, where they're saying that the president has uncheckable authority. And so the media is not saying it, but they're saying it, that if we allow him back in office, even with him getting into the Supreme Court, he's convicted felon over 20 times, and he's still allowed to run because they're saying, and I'm saying the white community, MAGA white community is saying that we want to have unchecked power for our leader. He can do whatever he wants, how he wants to do it, and nothing can be done or he can't be held accountable. This is why we need to make sure that he doesn't get in. If a cow was running, I would vote for the cow. And so
say it again. If the cow was running, I'd vote for the cow.
I would vote for the cow. Now listen, there are some issues that we have to tackle with Vice President Harris. Number one, and it's not an issue for us, but it's an issue that America has to face, and that's that she's black. The second issue is that she's a black woman. And so I have a question for you. Can a black woman win? Can a black woman win?
Yes, a black woman can win. The first thing is that our community as a whole, we have to support her. She has to know if she can't count on any other vote, that she can count on us. And then from there, as a woman, just women in general, this is our moment. We could seize it. This is our moment to be the president of the United States of America. If you just look back over our history and the things of how women have progressed over the years and all the things that we're trying to work out, and equality for this and equality for that, this would be our moment. So women everywhere should be saying, hey, I am for Kamala. I'm on her team. It's an exciting moment in history. She has the pedigree to win, and we need to say, girl, we are with you. Let's make this happen.
And I would like to join and say that black men ought to say, Harris, we're with you. Just like black women stood up for President Obama, black men, it's time for us to stand up for Vice President Harris. Listen, she it's like God had put her in for such a time as this. And this is a movement of God, I believe, because who would have thought that she would be the next president nominee without having to go through any debates, without having to go through any campaigning. It just was handed to her. It was like the Lord said, here, become the president.
Become the
And
president.
we need to stay in the wind, WIND, as well as
Mm-hmm.
WIN, the wind
Mm-hmm.
of God. We have to
Yes, we
stay in it.
do.
And I'm not trying to preach,
Mm-hmm.
but and I want to
Can it,
say to
can it
those of
preach?
you, this is what Talk It Out is all about. To
Mm-hmm.
have these discussions. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Second question I have for you as it relates
Okay.
uh, to Vice President Harris is:
Mm-hmm.
will white men and traditional white women vote for a black woman, or does it even matter?
I, at this point, it just depends on which demographic of white males and which demographic of white females, because you do have those that know wrong from right, that will say, hey, this makes sense. This is the right thing to do for our country. Then you have those that may not be as politically savvy, that can be misled easily, and then they may say, "Oh, no, no, no." I witnessed some ladies talking on the. I want to say that it was on the news that I saw it, and they were saying, "No, we can't elect her. She's ignorant." And then the lady said, "And I'm a school teacher, and I don't want this for my country." And
Did
they
she
were
say
our
it in
other
that
brothers
voice?
and sisters. Yeah, and then yeah, she said in that voice, and I'm saying, but she's educated. What do you mean that she can't represent you? I have to tell you, those that are being fooled and pulled in, it just really, really just in my heart. I pray for them. I cry for them because they're being led astray.
Right,
And it goes back again to marketing. If I want something to look a certain kind of way, I can make it look that way. That's how television, that's how ads, that's how commercials, they all work. Look at our children when a toy comes out. Okay, that toy is just a toy when it comes off that line, but then they
right,
say, okay, we're gonna make Johnny the toy. He's going to be the number one toy for Mattel this year. And so what they do is they put a lot of money into that. So every time you wake up, you're seeing Johnny the toy. You're hearing Johnny the toy, Johnny the toy. Your kids begin to hear Johnny the toy. And so I want Johnny the toy. It puts it in demand, all of that. Before Trump had it easy with Biden, I'm just going back a little bit, because he had screamed and hollered the loudest.
right,
And he had poured so much money into that while Biden was busy running our country, the
right.
things that he's supposed to be doing. For me, I got to go back to that first debate, and then we'll go back to Harris. When he was talking to him, I don't know, just me, my personality was saying every question they asked, she should have said, well, what about felony one?
Right.
What about felony two? Those would have been my answers. I would have been like, let's talk about felony.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody on his team needs to be fired, because
Listen,
that was a roast him up moment. He could have
he
been
just was in
roasted.
court for rape, you know,
Yeah,
and
all kind of things.
I believe we have to also protect the visceral attacks that are going to come, because I think that they will come as how white men look at black women. They even have started to talk about, small things like she
Mm-hmm.
prefers, and I don't know if it's true or not, a plastic straw over a paper straw or something like that. But they're going to be attacking her in ways that they wouldn't attack a white man.
Well, let me
And
tell you, I like a plastic straw over
yeah,
paper straw, because after you suck on that straw like 2 or 3 times, if I
it
make
feels like
McDonald's and
toilet
I get
paper.
something, it's gone. You can't,
Yeah,
the soda won't even come through
right.
anymore. And I'm like, what in the world? Whose idea was this?
So yes, I think we have to protect her. I think we have to look out for the racial in the windows and the
Mm-hmm.
womanizing in the windows that come towards her. And we have to do what we did with Barack is to put some money behind her, even
Money.
if it's $5 or $10. We
Mm-hmm.
need to put some money behind the efforts, and then
Mm-hmm.
also we have to call our folks from down home and tell
Mm-hmm.
them to vote for VP Harris. Now I'm
Yes.
going to close this section of
Mm-hmm.
talk it out. You have
Mm-hmm.
some programs that you would like to highlight
Yes.
that are doing
Yes.
great work. Uh,
Yes, I am pushing my little button now. So I'm so grateful that you can see all these little tablets I got going before me, trying to make sure that they stay on as you get through with your part and I move into the part. So we're moving to a little lighter in the conversation. We're just sharing some great things that are going on within the Black church, as well as what's going on in the Black community. We have economic empowerment through cooperative economics. Listen, that means for those that say, what is she talking about? Well, Black churches are lending initiatives to promote cooperative economics within their community. We're involving creating community owned businesses, making other businesses right there in our community, pooling resources and talent. I have some examples of people that are doing that, and I think you're familiar with some of them. We have the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. They're collaborating with Black churches to establish community owned cooperatives, and that's amazing to me. Then we have the Empowerment Temple AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland. They are known for their economic empowerment programs and support for local Black owned businesses. That's saying to me that we have to take interest in our own. We can't wait for someone else to save us or build us up. For those that are doing it, empowerment, that means to give strength to say, yeah, when you feel like you can't, they're saying yes you can, and we're going to help you do that. I mean, these are wonderful programs. To me, what do you think about that,
yes,
Gilbert?
the church has to cover all bases in our community. We just can't be a church to say this is how you get to heaven, and then folks are hungry while they're on earth. This is how you get to
Mm-hmm.
heaven, and folks are broke and no job on earth. We have
Mm-hmm.
to uh, just pray the prayer that
Mm-hmm.
Jesus prayed, thy kingdom come, thy will be
Mm.
done. We have to allow his kingdom and help his kingdom to come here on earth. And so how do we do that? We get involved in people's lives. We create
Yes.
relationship with folks and we find out what their needs. We have to do a needs assessment in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And once we find out what the needs are, the church has to begin to work in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we have made the mistake of putting all our money into the building and no money into people. People ought to be able to come to church and get
That's
something
deep.
out of it other than a word. I'll
Yes.
say that again.
Yes. I,
People ought to get
I
something
think
out of
so.
church other than getting a word.
Mm-hmm.
That word
Yeah.
will empower them. That word should help them to
Mm-hmm.
get up. That word should help them to be healed. But the church is not broke.
No, church is not broke. And
We
then
are
here's the
filled.
thing. Here's the
Okay.
thing, Gilbert. If I'm hungry, I ain't listening to nothing you say. I need
Right.
a biscuit first. Give me my
Right.
biscuit. Let me have
And
something in my stomach, then we can talk.
when I'm saying broke, I'm not just necessarily saying money. We
Mm-hmm.
have, and this goes back to the generational approach of leadership. We
Mm-hmm.
have teachers in our school. We have lawyers, doctors in our. I'm sorry, in our church. Lawyers and
Mm-hmm.
doctors in our church. We have folk who are managers at their
Wow.
jobs. We have ANC leaders, civic association leaders, and there's a lot of times they're just sitting because the church has not
Mm.
empowered the people to move for the church's behalf. And so I'm
Wow.
so glad to hear churches that are empowering in economic growth.
Yeah, I think that's so good. So the next one is celebrating Black excellence in STEM. You know, is highlighting the achievements of Black professionals in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so that's what STEM stands for those that are listening in
Give
that
that
may
to
not
them
have known
again.
that. It STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so churches and communities, organizations are hosting events and workshops to inspire you to pursue careers in these fields. They're doing mentorship programs, scholarship programs, partnerships with educational institutions to provide resources and support. And one of those that we can just highlight on that's doing that is the National Society of Black Engineers, the NSBE. They are partnering with churches to provide resources and mentorship for Black students. That's impressive all the way around the board. Then Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, they are hosting STEM workshops and career fairs to inspire you. That's amazing. We really need to get
Absolutely.
on the ball and join them in these efforts.
Absolutely. And these careers will never go away. So they're not just a job, but they are careers. And
Yeah.
we have to get our children involved in more than just wanting to be a football player, a basketball player, a
Mm.
rapper, an actor, a dancer.
Mhm.
We have to kind of expose them to some things sometimes that they don't even want to get
Yeah.
involved in. Make them go to that science, that STEM camp. My
Hello.
daughter, she had to
Mhm.
go to a camp, and it was during the pandemic, so it was virtual.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I would call and say, what did you do today? And they were inventing projects and doing all of
Wow.
these projects, working with her hands. And
Mhm.
originally she didn't want to do it, but at the end of the camp, she said, I really liked it.
Wow. And that's the issue. A lot of times, my one of my degrees is in early childhood education, and with
Did y'all
that,
notice
uh,
she said one of her degrees? Well, go ahead.
okay, I don't mean like that. Anyway, and so with that, a lot of times the child has to be steered in the direction of that way you can figure out what their strong suits are
Right.
and what they will want to be and focus on. I'm always mystified when I encounter a 10-year-old or 12-year-old that says, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And I'm saying to myself, what? You're not the parent. You're still a young
Right,
child.
right,
And
right.
you're saying, well, you're not going to do it. So whoever's in charge of you, whoever your person is that, has legal guardianship of you, because that narrative in today's time can be several different people that are parenting and all of that, they should say, hey, you may be upset, you may not like this, but I'm doing this for your good.
That's
And
right.
that's the thing that has to happen, that you do it for their good. But these are just, I mean, tremendous programs that really can be life changing. I'm so proud that the National Society of Black Engineers, that they are doing it. My friend Valerie, that's there in Alabama, her son, he belongs to this group. And, I'm so proud of him. When I talk to him, I'm going to say, hey, I did a thing on a podcast, and, your organization came up. It's amazing. You never know what children will be. I knew him when he was a little baby when I lived in Italy. And then now that we are here and he's grown, he's in his 30s now.
Wow.
Don't nobody try to guess how old I am, okay? And so it's amazing to see how, something that he's involved in, that they're doing things to give back to the community to make a difference. So
Yeah.
this is just a great thing. My next one, as we speed along here, because we're down to 10 minutes here. So advocating for environmental justice. Listen, before I
Environmental.
even get into this, I attended a conference online that talked about Gen Z, and that talked about millennials and young adults. And they are very concerned about our environment. They're very concerned about living in a clean world, for the world continuing to exist, that we stop destroying the world. So this organization advocating for environmental justice, Black churches, listen now, Black churches are increasingly active in advocating for environmental justice, addressing the disproportionate impact of environmental hazards on Black communities. That's appallable all by itself. I have an example here. The Interfaith Power and Light, the IPL, they're working with Black churches to promote environmental stewardship and justice. And then we have the Green Church. Green the Church. It's a coalition of Black churches focused on addressing environmental issues affecting Black communities. That's amazing and mind-blowing to me. But think about it. A lot of the companies back in the day, they built their companies that put all of this pollution and stuff in the air right over in the poor community. And a lot of those communities were our communities. And so I can do one case in point. Real talk, people. This is a real talk moment. My father, who died in 2009, the late, great Reverend Dr. J.E. Merriweather there in Alabama, they had dirt. That dirt was dirty, and they knew it was dirty, that they put there in Anniston, and all of them were tested, and they had PCP in their system and just all kind of things in their system. And so they gave them all a little bit of money. That's what they did. They gave them a little bit of money and said, hey, we'll take care of your medical things. My dad was fortunate. My mom was the principal, so she had good insurance, and he pastored, a large church there. So the church, made sure for his health and things. But in the end, that couldn't stop the cancer. That killed him. And so for those that think, hey, we're just talking out here about the environment. No, real talk. It's a serious thing that can happen in your life. The viruses and the disease that comes from our world being contaminated and polluted. So that was just a real talk moment.
We also have the biggest cases, the largest cases of asthma and respiratory issues in the Black urban communities. And we know that is caused by the buses and the cars, the highways that are put directly in the middle of our communities, the lead paint that they have used in the homes that they built, the Section 8 homes had lead paint in the beginning. And so it is a direct cause for our death. And one of the things that we have to and I'm going to let you move on, but Trump said in the debate that his first day in office, he would move the country back to a oil-driven country and not changing to electric. And so we have to understand there's reasons not to vote for him. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, because the oil thing, when you look at the oil thing, since we're there, let's go there. Since we're talking about the oil thing, what that will do is, I had a father-in-law that worked for Shell, and he was one of their first Black, I guess, directors over an area there at the plant. Nevertheless, he died of cancer.
Wow.
And it was found out later in his test, and when other people began to get the same type of cancer there in Louisiana, that it was caused from him working directly in there every day, consuming those fumes and encountering those things. We have to be just in our Black community, and I guess we're talking to you today. I want you to really hear us. That we have to learn to really put ourselves first and love on us. It's not me and my three. No, it's us. If it affects me, it affects you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're the same people.
So you wanted to go. I think that's a great segue to your next one, which is mental health.
Yes, mental health awareness and support. Doesn't it help to have somebody on here to say, hey, go on to the next one? Yeah, mental health awareness and support. There's a growing focus on mental health within the Black community, with churches providing crucial support through counseling services, mental health workshops, partnerships with mental health professionals. These efforts aim to break the stigma around mental health issues and provide accessible resources for those in need. Oh, my goodness. I can't even just talk about the ones that we have here, because we have Pastor Bennett that's right here in our area that does things.
William Bennett, Good Success Baptist
William Bennett. Yes, and he provides those type of resources. We have 2 or 3 other pastors in there that provide resources for mental health awareness, those that may be on drugs. Pastor Davies over there, right there by Bennett's church, and I know I'm saying it wrong. Forgive me, Pastor. With a better way. That's what it's called, a better way.
Yeah. Pastor Davis, Freddie Davis, Pastor Freddie Davis.
Yes,
Pilgrim Baptist Church. Yeah.
Yes, and so I used to do their women's rep once a month for them there, just as a volunteer thing to do. And I tell you, it makes a major difference in our community, because a lot of people, when they get clean, then that's when all the other things begin to come to the surface, that, okay, this person isn't just dealing with drugs. Okay, they may have a multiple personality, bipolar, different other things that are going on in their life. And so mental health awareness is just so important. And I got to tell you, and I know I keep referring to our young adults, they don't have a problem going to get help.
Right.
I mean, they don't. If they feel like something's going on with them, they'll tell you, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go and I'm going to get me a counselor and I'm going to work through this. And in our generation, we were taught that you don't tell the family business.
Yeah.
You don't go out and talk about this thing. Or we say we got our crazy cousin so-and-so. I mean, we've all heard those kind of things, when really mental health is serious and it's okay to talk about it. So these places, the Black Mental Health Alliance, BMHA, they're collaborating with churches to provide mental health resources and support. And then the First African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia, they are offering mental health workshops and counseling service. I mean, that is like wonderful, wonderful.
I just want to add that there's so 2 other names that are out there. Orlando Jermaine Bago is he's centering his mental health around the opioid crisis that we have, and we have a lady, Pastor Wanda Thompson, who is doing great work in the community as it relates to therapy and trauma. And we got a few minutes, but I just want you to just say something about the trauma that we have in our community. I know if you live in Washington, D.C. like I do, you have trauma just because of all of the guns and murders that has taken place throughout the years. But you can speak on.
There's so much. Listen, I moved here. When I came here, I came from, so first of all, I'm from Alabama. So, hey, we moved slow. So when I moved here from Texas, and that was in 1999 when I first moved here. And listen, it blew my mind. It moved so fast. On the news, I stopped watching the news because it made me nervous to go outside, because people were killing people. They were robbing people. It was just so overwhelming. And even living here now, as I get older, if you watch the news a lot, it can make you just nervous and afraid to go out. And so it puts a lot of trauma. You don't really realize that's what it is until someone talks about it, like you just brought it up, and you go, yeah, that's trauma, because it's something that you're apprehensive about doing. It's something that you have experienced in your life. And what we're saying to you, as you're experiencing this trauma, it's okay to get some support to work through those things, so you won't act them out in the wrong way.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you got one more. The youth. We can't leave out our young people, youth leadership and empowerment programs.
Yes, youth leadership and empowerment programs. We're saying that there's a growing focus on mental, I'm back at mental health. Whoop, there we go. Black churches are investing in the future by developing youth leadership and empowerment program. These programs include leadership training, civic engagement projects, and entrepreneurial workshops designed to equip young people with the skills and confidence to lead in their communities and beyond. That's so important to say yes. To have a black man say to a black boy that, hey, yeah, you can do it. You can be the president. You can work for the Fortune 500 corporation. That you can be that astronaut. I mean, it makes a major difference for us to say. And when VP Harris is the president, that yes, as an African American young lady, that you can be president of the United States of America, that you can be on the Supreme Court, that you can be over many different things that in the past it has only been opened up to men. But not just that, but you're black and you can do it. A boy or a girl, you can do it. And these organizations that are pushing this, believe it or not, the Boys and Girls Club, they're really coming back around. They're partnering with black churches to provide leadership training and empowerment programs. The Potter's House. The Potter's
Go ahead.
House.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Potter's House in Dallas, Texas. They're hosting youth leadership conferences and entrepreneurial workshops.
Listen, it doesn't take much to spend some time with some young people. I go at least once a month to either get some young folks some pizza or get them some Chick-fil-A, get them some Wendy's, and we'll eat. And after we eat, we'll do some old school things. We'll race. We'll do some jumping jacks. So and they just love it. And then once I get them loosed up, then I can start talking to them and more listening than talking. And I'm able to impart in them some real nuggets for their future, like you said. And when I used to work in the youth jail, I was dealing with young teenagers who had committed murder. And the one thing that they said was, I would ask them, how did we get here? You wasn't raised as someone be out here wild and shooting a gun, carrying a gun, killing somebody. How do we get here? And almost 9 times out of 10, they would say, my grandmother died. My grandfather died. I was living with my grandparents, and when they died, I didn't have anybody else. And so that said to me, first of all, that our parents need to step up in our community. I'm not saying that we don't have great parents, but there are some parents that need to step up. Second thing is the church need to step up to be a net to capture these fallen folks, young people who don't have grandmama, granddaddy, mama, or father, aunt or uncle who is looking for somebody to help grab them and capture them, and instead they go to the streets.
Yes, that's so true.
I believe that the church is the answer. Well, let me change that.
It is the answer.
The black church is the answer for the world today. And if we do what God is, the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. This is Talk It Out. This is our first episode. We're here every week, every Monday, 7 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. This is better than CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whatever. You getting the real deal with Talk It Out with Gilbert and Miller.
Yes, I tell you what, I appreciate everyone that tuned in and they were a part of listening with us today. I have to tell you, I had new show jitters, but we just worked through them. And I know as we go along, we'll get more cohesive and it'll just blend together very seamlessly. That's what we tell ourselves. And then we'll be like, wow. But I want you to know that the world is full of amazing things that's happening every day, not just bad things, but good things. But here's the thing, we can make it happen for our community. We can be that change. Don't you agree, Gilbert? We can be the
Yes,
change.
yes, I agree. We
Okay.
are the change, Miller.
We are the change. So don't forget to tune in. And in the meantime, we want you to spread kindness and keep the faith. See you next time. So until it says that the live is off, we have to stay calm and cool and not make crazy faces. I tell you here, so that we will be able to end it.
That's right. That's right.